Hello and welcome to the Fireside stream. I am your host, Remy McNeil, and joining me as always is the ever indomitable Mollie Rhymemaster. Mollie, how are you doing today?
Oh my gosh, my bed is such a mess. Guys, don't look at my room.
To be fair, we can't see that on stream, so you're fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I decided to go for the Midwestern vibe today.
We can, however, see that pile of lingerie in the corner. So, I mean, you might want to hide. No, I'm kidding. No, hello, everyone.
Da Bears.
What?
I saw someone already put Da Bears in the chat.
Da Bears.
Da Bears.
All right, let me just briefly do a little bit because I didn't quite set up the stream as thoroughly as I typically do. Ah, there it is. And look, there we go. So yes, in today's video, we're going to be covering the last segment of the Volume 7 crew commentary that was released. I believe we actually have some video footage. People have actually captured some footage of it now. But we don't need that. We have the cliff notes. The only thing that I would like to know is who said certain things. But we can get to that later. And we'll be covering, hopefully, fan submissions. We have 2 fan submissions, is that right? So far? We have 2 for the John Wick challenge?
One was sent to me. Did you get another?
Oh, only one was sent to you. I thought there was another one that was sent.
Yeah.
So we only have one submission from the John Wick challenge. If you guys decided to write up a mock of what that fight scene looks like, even incomplete, we'll take a look at it and give you our thoughts on it. If it's incomplete, obviously we'll be a little more forgiving because that's before a lot of editing comes into play. But, you know, it gives us an idea of what we're working with, what you're working with, and we'll be able to give you feedback on that. That said, should we hop into these commentary notes? Is there anything else we want to bring up?
No, where'd we leave off again?
We were left off on episode 9. Episode 9 is where we're starting now. This one is featuring Paula, the director, Kiersey, Eddie, and Carrie. It was difficult to keep shots interesting in the dining room. I wonder if this is going to make note of the the dining room is an Evangelion reference apparently.
Yes, because they're all sitting at a table and silently, which in Evangelion was used to show emotional distance and like the consequences of that kind of thing. But no, there's like, man, people at tables is a great Eva reference.
And maybe
they're actually children.
Maybe it's difficult to keep shots of the table interesting because no one's doing anything except just talking at each other. Like you could actually have people like eating, like people animated in certain ways. There's a number of ways to make a table scene interesting. Let's see. We see Grapekun and Drunk Man again. Yeah.
Guys, the in-jokes. Laugh. Aren't we clever? We keep putting our in-jokes.
Part of that was their commentary on how like Drunk Man and Grapekun were barometers for how Mantle was doing. So they're trying to highlight more that, like, not that it's funny necessarily, I don't think. I mean, they could be trying to be, oh, it's funny. No, I think it's more them trying to be like, hey, look how good we are that we have, like, this consistent element that's, like, building into the lore.
You're giving them too much credit here.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to figure out what they're saying here exactly. I'm not saying that they're good.
I honestly think they're just like, guys, we gave them such funny names. That's how it always comes off to me.
In earlier chapters, they made sure to have an orange glow to represent the heating in Mantle, since they knew it would be turned off in Chapter 8. Interesting. Because, I mean, I did actually note that. I did notice that Mantle had a very warm glow to it. It had a very warm coloration, which was weird. And so I'll give them props for that. That's actually fairly smart attention to detail. They wanted to showcase that Ironwood was starting to have doubts, which would later be clearly seen in episode 11. Whatever. The foot soldier, that's pretty apparent. You don't need to point that out, guys. The foot soldiers, AKs. they're called AKs, that the Grimm are able to overwhelm in only a few seconds, were meant to represent that Atlas wouldn't provide them with much defense against the Grimm because they don't care enough.
I'm losing my shit that they call them AKs, because in Yiddish, AK is just short for Altakaker, which means like old fart head.
But like,
that's the nicer way to say it. But
like the kids, it's like they didn't care enough, guys. You see, they're so easily overwhelmed. They didn't care enough. They're being slaughtered. Or are they talking about the robots? Are they talking about the people or the robots? Someone remind me. Were they robots down there or were they people? Because if it was people down there, they were literally just letting their troops get slaughtered because they didn't care. What the hell does that make? And Ironwood cares about Mantle. He's willing to sacrifice it, but he cares about it. It's heavy on his head. Let's see. Every storyline was coming together in this episode, and it's tricky to make a setup episode that like this not seem like filler, which implies that it is actually filler, which means you're doing something wrong. Like,
guys, be sure it wasn't filler. Guys, we're going to beat the Grimm by trusting love. That's how we win.
Oh, it was robots? Okay. Fine. I guess that's an okay. Send the tin cans down the fight, but like, at the same time,
wait, I thought those robots were like super difficult to take down.
Were they? I don't think they were.
I mean,
because they got slaughtered like wholesale in Volume 3.
Yeah, that's true. What about the big ones?
Paladins haven't been mentioned since Volume 3.
Cool.
Let's see. Ruby and Oscar's awkward interaction came from them both riding the high of the moment, where it seems like they each have great plans that go well. No, guys, we're totally not shipping them. Don't think we're shipping Oscar and Ruby. It's not like we're trying to do that under everyone's nose.
I swear, it's like everybody watching Ruby, it's like no matter how good it is, the moment Oscar comes on screen, the entire audience just...
Yeah, I sleep. Oscar is starting to tap into some of Ozpin's memories, as alluded to when he mentions how Atlas is held to a higher standard. Okay, great. Now, how's that like? Terry the Grimm being hit by a fireball, part of a plane, I believe, was a callback to Jurassic Park. What?
Guys, it's a thing from a movie we watched.
When was a Jurassic Park creature hit with a fireball? Someone remind me of when there were massive fireballs in Jurassic Park. They circled for a long time with where to put the Neo reveal. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Honestly, like you should not have even had Cinder and Neo in this volume. That was one of your biggest mistakes, was introducing them the way you did. Because like,
hold on, can I just take a second? Fixing Ruby Neo though. Whoa. Whoa. Like, I was listening to that, to the latest Fixing Ruby on the way to class, and I was just like, okay, yes, pretty good. And then you start doing stuff with Neo, and I'm like, whoa. I was, like, losing it in the library. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's doing this. Madman.
I don't want to take the praise, damn it. I gotta keep myself modest.
Take it. That's like, you deserve it. That's such a cool idea.
But it's only an idea until it's implemented, and I'm always anxious about the fact that, like, can I keep it going? It's Neo's going to be a tricky one. I'll whenever I get to my commentary on Fixing Ruby Volume 4, and like my response to critiques and such, I can expound more on my thoughts on Neo and why I did what I did. But for now, let's just move back into this. Yeah, like you're introducing Neo and Cinder 9 chapters into the volume. We didn't even know they were at play. We didn't know even how they got into Atlas. Well, we kind of had an implication they would get into Atlas, but we didn't know they had already made it. They already infiltrated. Where are they staying? What kind of money do they have? Like,
imagine they just show up at like a Hilton. They're like at a Motel 6 somewhere.
Turns out they're all just, in the Devil's Rejects. God, that would be a twist out of left field. Just wind up in a Rob Zombie film. Chapter 10, featuring Connor, Dustin, Kiersey, and Carrie. They felt that they showed a lot in the first scene of the episode. They wouldn't have to... they felt if they showed a lot in the first scene of the episode, they wouldn't have to saturate the background with with other fires and crowds. Okay. On a technical level, that makes some sense. I actually kind of understand that. So I'm not too annoyed by that. I understand the logic behind there is that you kind of front load the background elements so that you kind of imply that there's a lot more going on than when the characters are together. They're just somewhere that there's a lull going on of some sort. The shot of Weiss's knight being summoned and overshadowing Marrow is setting up their fight in C12. Okay. When seeing the shots of enemies infiltrating the kingdom, they didn't know if they wanted to show Neo and Cinder or Tyrion and Watts first. But they went with Neo and Cinder because it would show that they thought the cover was blown when it would really be about the other two.
Hold on, the place Neo and Cinder are staying is at an Atlas High Life apartment. We were right, she's at a Hilton.
It basically is, as far as we can tell.
Also, someone's like, "Oh no," and they have to share one bed.
Oh, that's actually the next note. Okay, I see that. Yeah, and there's only one bed. We all know Cinder's taking the couch. We all know that dynamic. Cinder's taking the couch.
It's just true. I know I'm picturing Neo in one of those like king-sized beds.
She's in one of those king size. She's like a little like onesie on, like a bear onesie or something like it, just super cute, like cuddle up. And Cinder's just like sitting on the couch. She's doesn't
on
have
the pull-out.
Yeah, she's on the pull-out. She doesn't have like any pajamas, so she's sitting there in her underwear. She's just glaring at Neo the entire time, just like, I'm literally sitting here in a loincloth I stole from this homeless lady that I found back in volume 6.
I was picturing like imagine how little of the bed Neo actually takes up.
Oh yeah, she is like even like as small as a body pillow. You could just cuddle right up to her.
Neo is as small as a body pillow. Raymond McNeil 2020. Somebody put that on a plaque.
Someone get me a Neo body pillow. I don't mean like a Dakimura with an image of Neo on it. I mean an actual Neo shaped body pillow. Someone get me that.
Well, she's like what 40? She's like 4'8", 4'10". That's about as tall as those Costco bears.
Yeah, that's about right.
The Costco bears are just really wide. Neo could sleep on top of a Costco bear.
Oh my god, that would be adorable. All right, new
Guys,
new command to the chat. Someone
fixing.
draw Neo sleeping on a Costco bear. That is your imperative. Your life is not going to ever be complete before you finish that image.
Costco bear. Now, I know some of you are Costco bitches, and some of you are also BJ's bitches, depending on where you are in the U.S., but Costco has always been my thing.
I don't think I have either near here. It's really
well, I
weird.
guess it's an East Coast thing, but...
See, they always knew Elm would have a rocket launcher bazooka, but never really got the time needed to show it until now. Okay. They had to restructure Mantle a bit to allow the huge elephant to fit in the streets. You see, I think it would be more interesting if the elephant had to squeeze through the streets and was like knocking buildings down.
That'd be really cool. Don't
modify the setting, have the creature modify the setting. Understand? Savvy? Like that? Or otherwise plan ahead. Otherwise, have Mantle have the wider streets. Though it would raise the question of why Mantle has such wide streets.
Everywhere in Mantle is like a 6-lane road.
Well, here's the question: is why does Mantle have such wide streets? Typically, like you see a lot of more tight-knit architecture in northern climates because you typically want warmth kind of pooling together. Yeah, makes sense. So like you don't typically want to be very spread out. Spread out is typically how you get like, cooler and more like. I mean, like that's a huge thing in Cincinnati. Like when I used to work downtown, I would walk in the winter from the parking garage to my to where I worked, and the wind tunnels the streets created were horrifically cold. Horrifically cold. I don't even care if you have heaters. You should have narrow roads. You should be very thin. You shouldn't let wind be running all around the city. In fact, you should have a lot of curved roads that change that block wind flow.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, give me like, and it would also make Mantle look way more like a slum. Like it wouldn't look just like a slightly warmer version of Vale. It would look basically completely different to anything we'd seen already, because we've gotten like Asian slum out of Mistral. We've gotten like basically average East Coast America combined with like London type London-esque architecture in Vale. But now give us American-esque architecture or like Russian-esque architecture with London street design or Boston street design, something like that.
Boston, it's Boston. You could look up like South Boston, and you could have. Man, I hate. There are certain words where everything just Boston. There we go. Something about that just.
And then have the elephant come in and just start wrecking house. I think that would be way more interesting.
Yeah, if you look up South Boston, that's kind of what I feel like. That's what they should have gone for.
Yeah. The main character is working with the Aesops.
Make it unlivable like Detroit. You could have made it look like West Baltimore, or Detroit.
This next one. The main character is working with the Aesops in this episode was to make it so things hurt so much more in the events in the following one. You know how you do that? Actually have the characters like interacting before it with a significant time over a significant period of time before the betrayal. Like,
yes, this is like me writing when I was like 16. We just got to do it once or twice, and then it'll hurt just as bad. Yeah.
Yeah. No, like. Unless the once or twice are like really intimate moments where it's like super intense for the characters, you need it. Either you need a general amount of time for these characters to bond. Okay, here's a good example of how you do it on like a 1-to-2 interaction moment. It's not 1-to-1, but you have Zuko and Katara from The Last Airbender. In the oh god, I'm really washed out now. What the hell? They obviously have fought each other a couple of times over the series, but they never really deeply interacted until they got trapped together underneath the Earth Kingdom. And in that moment, the two had a deep bonding moment. And that's where a lot of Zutara shippers show up, is because they have this deep, intimate moment where they basically get to know each other, get to understand each other better, how both of them got the bond over their lost mothers. It's just incredibly poignant to their characters that they understand where each is coming from. And so when Zuko decides to side with Azula in the finale of season 2, it hurts so much more, especially because this is immediately, it's like 10 minutes. It happens 10 minutes before that betrayal, where you're thinking Zuko might actually flip sides here. And this is on top of the fact that we as viewers already know that Zuko is possibly on a route to redemption thanks to his uncle. So it's like we have several.
Yeah, I had actually forgotten about that. It's a really, really good plot point, though.
It really is, and like there's so many. Like, God, Zuko is such a deep character. You have Katara, who's honestly kind of a bitch, but, like, come on. She needs to be. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Considering the crew she rules with, she needs to actually be that kind of.
Token bastard.
She needs to be the token mother. Like the bitchy mother because no one else will listen to her. And she's, like, the rational one in the crew. So, yeah, like, there are several compounding issues. We have nothing to work with here. We don't know anything about them. We don't know anything about Team Ruby, at least when it comes down to, like, how they have, like, stances on things.
It's only been like 8 years.
Yeah, it's only been like 8 years. The Anime Guy Ruby Critics podcast says the Atlesian military was very underutilized and trash that literally America could have taken down Atlas with just artillery and aircraft. Just why?
Yeah, why is the entirety of the Atlesian military like aircraft and artillery and like anti-aircraft? That I don't know. It just feels like they have no ground troops. I guess they have the robots for that, but where's the armor units? Where's their infantry? Where's their engineers? Who's building the bridges and the trenches?
Good questions.
What's happening?
For another time. That's a Star Wars reference. Okay, let's see.
Clover, it's true, Harriet. I definitely have breast cancer. Just have like the most like random like bonding and like earth-shattering revelation.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, insane oddball.
I have diabetes. I mean, you're already in the north. Go full the thing. It'd be fun. If you're going to be in a wintry setting, why not copy a better film than Evangelion? Oh,
Ironwood is former Air Force, then funds nothing but Air Force. You know what? If the Army was in charge of an Air Force officer, that is exactly what I think would happen. So credit where credit's due.
The Anime Guy Ruby Critics podcast. What they need is a military consultant to slap them. Yes. Yes, I do.
Didn't they have a veteran on their staff?
Yeah, but, like, that's different than a consultant. All the background characters apparently have little backstories as they made sure they didn't appear in two places at the same time. Now, wait a minute! Hold the phone! I am guarantee you see dead MILFs. You see MILFs giving the thing to Jean, then you see dead MILFs in the Tyrion scene, and then later you see MILFs alive in the later scenes. What is this? Docking that. Ironwood jumps down a ridiculous number of feet to meet Watts. They had to cheat to not make it so obvious, as well as to say this is animation logic, so people working on the shot could stop questioning how he could possibly make it. Aura! Aura! Does aura mean nothing to you people? That's the entire point. That's the reason Monty added it, so he could do over-the-top action shit. People have fallen off an entire, like, skyscrapers before and survived because of aura.
Why are people asking them?
Like, oh my god. You guys completely forget about this entire mechanic that you have until you need to remember it. That was the reason why the Watts and Ironwood fight ended so well, is that both of them were out of aura, and the fall might actually kill Watts. Like, that'd be incredible. But no. Chapter 11, featuring Carrie, Paula, and Miles.
Why do you say it Paula?
I don't know.
Paula.
That's
how you say it.
Paula.
If you grew up where I did, it's Paula.
Paula. Oh, did you go over there and talk to Paulie? Oh, Paulie's very sweet boy, Paulie.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't know either. Originally, a gravity biome in Amity was going to appear in Volume 3, Chapter 5, It was going to be Sun and Neptune versus Pyrrha and Nora. It was written, boarded, and ready to go, but they realized there wasn't time for it, which is really disappointing. You guys,
That is extremely disappointing.
they should have planned better. This was a hard episode to write. A lot of stuff needed to happen, and in specific.
Every episode. This was a hard episode to write.
Watts' gun was inspired by a 20-shot revolver that Carrie saw on Reddit. I mean, I don't blame him for that. I think I've seen the same picture, and it's pretty cool. Ironwood losing another hand represents him losing another part of his humanity, possibly confirming he lost his organic arm. Possibly confirming he doesn't have an organic arm. What the hell? Or I guess he talking about like the one that he actually did tear through.
Brady said Raymond's doing a Jewish mom accent. That was not a Jewish mom accent. I could do one if I wanted. That's what I grew up with. That was the accent I lived around.
The first scene of this episode was 23. The first cut of this episode was 23 minutes and was deemed too long, so they had to scale back. Whoa! Okay.
Whoa!
Stop here.
Whoa, that was the best episode of the volume.
You are a web show. You have time. You can do that. Why would you scale it back when it was already done? Just touch it up. I don't understand these people. I thought for sure they were making these episodes as long as they possibly could. But no. They're actively cutting things. What the hell?
Hold on, I'm telling all my friends. The ones that watch Ruby.
Initially, the Tyrion versus Crow, Robin, and Clover fight was going to be a chase that turns into a fight that turns into another chase. And Crow is the only one that can keep up with Tyrion since he can transform into a bird. Crow would land in front of Tyrion and say, "That's enough," and Tyrion would ask, "Are you able to talk when you're a bird, or do you have to wait until you're a person to throw out your one-liners?" Tyrion asking the real questions here. Tyrion's lack of self-preservation would be shown even more. He would have run down an alley packed with Grimm and would just trust he could have made it through. That sounds fucking amazing. That sounds genuinely amazing. Why didn't we get that? You're not giving me a reason why we didn't get that.
Guys, genuinely suffering here.
The fight with Tyrion was initially going to be more of a Tyrion versus Crow fight, but Miles loved that they made it a 3v1 so it could show off Tyrion's exceptional skill. But wait, which fight with Tyrion? Because there were two in that episode. There was the plane, and then there was the plane after the crash. Like, the after the crash, it was 2v1 with Crow and Tyrion just suddenly teaming up out of nowhere. Which was awesome. It was an awesome fight, but it made no sense whatsoever. There was going to be more discussion of where Oscar was.
He's a dog. He just goes, "I'm in pain."
Me
too, buddy.
We're not alone. The fight was also a callback to Tyrion versus Crow fight where Ruby tried to be good backup for Crow, but was ineffective. But instead, this time, Robin and Clover be effective and more experienced teammates. Robin was fighting Clover! Oh, wait. Is this? Oh, okay. I'm thinking of the wrong fight, guys. I'm thinking of the wrong fight. Let's rewind a bit here. This is the alley fight, remember? The alleyway fight? I mean,
okay.
What was described is still better than what we got. But, like... I completely forgot, here's the thing. I completely forgot that fight existed. Anime Guy Ruby Critics podcast. It's because they don't like good ideas at all. Makes you wonder what's going on in their heads if we're asking them, why did you not use your good ideas? Yes. That's typically why you have a crew commentary. So you can be like, well, we had certain limitations in this scene, or like, we wanted to do a chase, but we couldn't really get the mileage we could out of our sets. We didn't have time to create more. You could go into all sorts of different reasoning why you didn't have the fight set you did, even though they would have been awesome. We would have at least understood you were working with limitations. It helps me write Fixing Ruby because I start to understand better why you guys did the things you did, and yet you're not giving me any explanation why. Actually explain why you didn't do these things.
I wish Robin died in that fight.
God, I wish Robin died in general.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Bro, guys, do you get it? Do you get the analogy? Guys, it's the most subtle political comment. Just sometimes you see a character and you just want them dead, not for the political analogy, but before they really fuck it up.
Yeah. Let's see. Clover is defense, Crow's offense. Robin is picking away at Tyrion with her long-range weapon. All right, good, fine. Although I don't understand how a guy with a fucking fishing pole is technically defense. There was going to be more discussion of where Oscar was at the end of the episode, as well as a whole bit where the Aesops and the kids land and they get their handwritten note saying they've been compromised instead of getting it via scroll. But it turned out to be too much.
Robin will die on a cross as a messiah figure. You know, they would. They wouldn't make it a cross though because
Robin died
that's
for your sins.
She definitely might. You know what? She's gonna die with like the sun, but like shining behind her. It's like very angelic.
The Christians were wrong, and may the Jews raise praise as the second coming is in Robin Hill. The true second coming, that is. Or no, the second, it's not even a second coming. Like, the true Messiah rises in Robin Hill. That's it. All the Abrahamic religions were wrong. Yay. Let's see.
We're all going to be saved by the anime woman.
I mean, in fairness, I would believe that we would all be saved by an anime woman at some point. Just saying.
Which anime woman?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
All right, chat. Fun question of the day. What anime girl is going to save us all?
What anime girl is actually... I mean, Madoka. Madoka from Madoka Magica. It's an obvious pick. Then there's Haruhi. Haruhi's also a
Wait, who voiced Robin?
Who voiced Robin?
Someone just mentioned Tear Down Winter. Stop doing that to me.
Not while she's on stream, guys. We need her head in the game. All right. Mount Lady, Saber, Artoria, Erza.
Ew, we got 2 votes for Fates. Shit taste right there.
Maka from Soul Eater, Yorochi. 2 votes for Yorochi.
Christina V voiced her?
Oh, yeah.
Man, that's a big downgrade after losing the spot as Edelgard.
Kiryu Koko. Is that the VTuber?
V
Is Kiryu Koko the VTuber that basically gave the middle finger to China? Because if so, yes.
She will destroy the world. Christina V had quite a 2019. Lost your position in JRPG of the year.
Yeah.
And what do you get in return?
The anime guy raises a good question. Why arrows when bullets are better in every way? Because apparently bullets aren't better in every way. I mean, it's not like fucking... They don't even give an explanation along the lines of, say, Dune. Where, like, Dune is real... Have you ever read Dune?
I have not read Dune.
Incredible science fiction book. And it gave a great explanation why everyone in like, thousands of years in the future were using swords. Every single person in the future has a personalized energy field, or a personalized energy shield that protects them. It protects them from high-speed impacts. So the faster something is going, the more it's reduced. So the thing is, you need blades. Blades are more effective because you can slow it down and slide it past the shield. So like combat becomes very meticulous, where you're just trying to like get close enough to a person, get them into kind of a grapple, and slide the blade in under their guard.
Yeah, there's no reason for it. Unless it was something like the weight of an arrow versus the weight of a bullet is better for breaking aura, but I don't know.
Like the only thing I could see is like when she had like the exploding arrows, like that works. Like because like the idea is you're literally packing the entire length of the bolt with explosives. That makes sense to me. Because it's more.
Who else is Christina? I know Christina V's been other things I've liked.
Let's see. Oh, random comment. So is the White Fang subplot just done now without them resolving why they were doing what they did? I think so. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
I mean, in the show proper.
Great work, everybody.
I'm gonna try and wrap it up in fixing Ruby in a more satisfying way. There was going to be more discussion of where Oscar was at the end of the episode, as well as a whole bit where the Aesops and the kids land and they get... Okay, I already did that. The scene of Ironwood talking to Ruby and his turn to being against them was the most important scene in the episode, and something everything in this season had built up to. I agree about that. That was spectacularly well done scene. Miles said it was...
Which one?
The Ironwood turning on them point.
That was really cool. But also I was cheering for Ironwood, and I don't think they wanted me to do that.
Yes, I completely agree with Ironwood in that. Miles said it was about time the two sides met face-to-face with Ruby meeting Salem. No, you don't just do that. You don't... Like, I was actually against the weird noodly arm reveal in Volume 5, and God knows how I'm going to handle that when I get to fixing it. But, like...
Noodly arm?
Yeah, remember when Emerald did her whole hallucination thing and turned Salem into Wacky Wavy Inflatable Tube Arm Man? They wanted to make Ironwood's progression into villainy subtle and make sense. He's not a villain, though!
There it is! Boys, he's a villain now! Bro, just straight villain. Bro, it's...
Yeah. Salem made things personal for Ironwood, so he felt like he had to come up with a solution. We don't even know how she made it personal. Like we don't know what that chess piece thing was all about, and I'm really curious to see if that's like ties into his backstory somehow.
Oh man, Christina V was Miraculous Ladybug? Oh, okay.
Oh, on that shipping chart that you wrote up, you should put Miraculous Ladybug and see where that lines up, because that's a really stupid dynamic.
I don't remember that well. I think it's stupid. I don't think it's malicious. That's what I remember.
Yeah, it might not wind up. It might wind up outside your triangle.
I have a shipping triangle of like my 3 least favorite ships, and it's just how I rank things now from like the soulmate fallacy to Blade and Abuse to really creepy vibes, and that's just where I put ships now. So like, you know, like Raylo is between like the soulmate fallacy and Blade and Abuse as an example.
Okay, let's see. They wanted more Cinder and Neo in
She
the
was
volume.
Retsuko. Okay.
She was what?
Retsuko.
Oh, Retsuko? Okay.
Yeah.
They wanted more
Retsuko.
Cinder and Neo in the volume, but had to cut back. But to compensate, they had to be instrumental in the collapse of Ironwood. No! No, that's the opposite of what you want to do! You don't just... Hey, these characters are here, and they're suddenly pulling out the key building block that sends you tumbling down. No! What the hell? Miles said the first collapse of Atlas... Miles first said collapse of Atlas, so wonder if he slipped up. Uh-oh. Are we going to say a collapse of Atlas? Is that planned in the future to show Ironwood is really the big, stupid mini head?
I think we all kind of knew that was coming, though.
Blake X Ironwood, make it happen. No random comment. No, bad. Bad.
That is not a woke ship. I know we've talked about like woke ships before. Rare pair does not equal woke. A woke ship has to be it's rare, and I hadn't considered it, but like, damn, that would really work, wouldn't it? Like when you sit down and think about it, you're like, damn, that actually is really good. A woke ship isn't just like, man, these two characters have never interacted. And like would have no reason to interact and like have no personal beef or anything that would make them interesting.
Yeah. I mean, like, my personal woke ship when it comes to, like, Little Witch Academia is Lot and Amanda. And when you get to Little Witch, keep an eye on those two's dynamic. I think it's actually, well, they don't really, the thing is, they don't really interact, but I think they have very complementary personalities. And there's some...
That's like me with Weiss and Ilya. Like, that would be fucking amazing. Like, they would never do it, but, like, that would be super cool. Yeah, Eradicate actually just put it in the chat. I don't know if he was responding to me or if it was a coincidence. But yeah, that's a very woke one.
You see, the thing is, I know Ilya's lesbian, but I'm like, I actually really like her and Sun's dynamic. I actually think that they could be a really good ship together.
I mean, a lot of people are good with Sun.
Sun's just a good boy, and that fucking novel did him dirty.
Yeah, really.
Chapter 12.
Man, I would be down for Sun and Ilya.
Yeah.
What is she going to do? Argue? She isn't real.
Chapter 12, featuring Dustin, Connor, I almost said Corner, Kiersey, Eddie, and Kerry. They wanted to have a false sense of resolution in the previous episode just to blow everything up here. Okay. Eddie handled the Aesop's versus Ruby and Winter scenes, while Kiersey handled the rest. What were the rest? Okay, wait. So Eddie handled the Aesop versus Ruby scene, which is terrible. The Winter scenes, which were all right. And then Kiersey handled the rest, which were what were they? Cameron Delk, Salem, your mom, Ruby, gone, reduced to atoms. And guys, I appreciate the super chats. I super love the super chats, but please know that YouTube takes so much of that money away, and it makes it less to us. You can donate to Streamlabs. It's there. The link is right there on the screen. Donate to Streamlabs. It comes through. We get a much larger percentage out of it, and you basically you cuck YouTube, and that's the important part.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sun deserves a harem. He does. What's with all these John X harem
really
fanfics?
Well, you want to know why? The yaoi shippers have claimed have really like gotten their claws into Sun.
Tragic. Fujo's take another.
So here we go. Carrie learned from Volume 5 that having everyone in one room for a fight doesn't work well. That's Carrie showing the one that's like, hey guys, I'm learning from shit. Like, Carrie is the one that I appreciate the most about that. Eddie is a big Weiss stan. Yeah, I could tell from that episode if he was the one writing it. She got way too much screen time, and I don't know why they paired her with Marrow. Clover has no idea who he's up against with Tyrion.
Sorry, Weiss, your much hotter and more interesting older sister really should have had that screen time.
Well, more so, like, they should have, like, actually been, like, team working. Weiss not just working alone, you know, kind of demonstrating the reason why Ruby was superior to the Aesops. Clover has no idea who he's up against with Tyrion, and thinks Crow is...
Wait, is this the fight where Blake gets her shit kicked in?
Maybe? I don't remember. The fight wasn't very memorable.
Because I remember that one thing, like, they were just like, wow, Yang and Blake are just perfect teammates and perfect everything, and they should... Because they got mad at the suggestion that maybe they should work with other people better. And they said no, which is not the sign of a healthy relationship, by the way. And then Blake gets her shit kicked in that fight, which is really funny.
It's frustrating. super frustrating being a fan of this show. Okay, so did you... Clover has no idea who's up against with Tyrion, thinks that Crow is the bigger threat, as well as Tyrion manipulating... And thinks of Crow as the big threat, as well as Tyrion manipulating Crow. It's not really a sentence, but... Clover saw both Crow and Tyrion on the wrong side of the law, so he felt like he had to fight both of them no matter what. No! No! Fight the guy you know is at least morally on your side. Later! Kill the guy with the evil scorpion robot tail that's murdering people first! Jesus Christ!
Again, I know I said this last week, but I want to live a day in the life of the writer so bad and just learn how they think.
No, I don't want to live a day in their life. I just want their paycheck. All right, just give me their paycheck. They made sure Team Ruby can't just stomp on the Aesops, but still show their teamwork. Plus, the lack of Clover being there didn't allow for the team to have a cheat code. Yeah, and the Aesops were kicking ass before they even had a cheat code. Like, they were an effective team when Clover wasn't around them. So, fuck off with that shit. This is another episode they had to trim down in length. Fuck you!
No!
Give us... I know that we complain about it dragging, but at least give us... The more time you spend, the more you might actually add something interesting. Bloody hell!
Why do we continue, if only to suffer?
Cinder was always going to lay waste to the medical facility and attack Winter. Okay.
Good.
They also wanted to do a Crow versus Tyrion reprisal. Okay. Kerry says he loves Clover. Okay.
Oh, I noticed.
It was crazy for Crow to meet someone that was genuinely a good person.
Yeah.
Wait.
What about his fucking niece?
Yeah. What about Ruby? Or Yang? Or Weiss? Or Blake? Well, okay, forget Blake. You can ignore Blake. What about John? Or Nora? Or Len? Or Oscar?
Truly, this is the end. This is it.
Or Gira? Or Callie, because they had to have met at the end of Volume 5. Or Maria, who was salty as fuck, but like genuinely seemed like a nice person. Or Saffron, or Tara, or oh my god! What do you mean, genuinely good person? These guys don't understand their own characters.
Plunged into insanity. Live.
Chapter 13, featuring Miles, Carrie, and Eddie. The Neo versus Orange fight could have been shorter. It should have been. The one thing you chose not to cut. And it was the Neo versus Orange fight. Also, we've gotten confirmation it's Team Orange now. At one point, they wanted to show Cinder using maiden magic to bring some dead AKs at Legion Knights back to life and fight Penny. It was going to be some sort of puppet joke. Like, that would have been cool. Weird, but cool. But Miles realized that Cinder could just blow up the room and bust through the walls. I mean, having backup isn't a bad idea. Ren is struggling with some heavy emotional stuff that is not resolved at the end of this volume, but it is hinted here that there will be a lot more for him next volume. I figured as much, though it's so jarring and weird. Yeah, Brooke Williams, F in the chat for Phoenix's sanity. Yeah, F in the chat.
F in the chat, but also F for frogs.
Yes, F for frogs.
F for frogs. Guys, DM me pictures of frogs that I could show my girlfriend. Cute frogs.
The okay, so the writers knew a lot of people wouldn't be happy with Ren's attitude this volume, but he still cares about Nora, even if he doesn't always communicate it well. Great, we got that. You guys are terrible. You guys flubbed this back in the kissing scene. Miles cried during the voiceover session of Freya's scene in this episode. Why? Why did you cry over that? They were nothing special. They were empty platitudes. They had a lot of talk about how the maiden power would be transferred. They debated if Penny would have to kill Freya. She should have. That would have been so metal if Freya was just like, "Oh, dearie, just do it. I'm ready to go."
You know what would have been really lit about that is that Penny struggles so much with you know, oh, I just want to be a human, and like I have emotions and I have a soul, and then she comes across this situation where she's like, oh, I'm gonna have to shut off my emotions and do this now.
Originally, one pod was going to be broken with the one with Freya being intact, but because Penny is a robot, she could remote interface and get the powers. What? But that still felt like stealing, and I didn't want to go that route. No, wait. How would hacking into the machine transfer the powers through wires and like machine parts that were not built to transfer aura? Like, how would that have worked? Someone answer me that. I don't. Oscar has matured so much in his role, jokingly calling him Farm Man. No, he hasn't. Oh, Eliphas Chaos donating said, Penny has the soul of an old man. Yes, she does.
It's interesting. People
Penny
are
is an
saying
old
that.
black man.
It's interesting. People are saying that the ukulele drowns out you. That's actually weird. Just because I'm not playing it that loud and it's quieter than my voice, but I guess the microphone picks up a lot better.
Yeah, it does. Cameron
It's
Delk.
weird.
The more we read, the more we realize God is left. And then also, thank you, random comment for $1. No comment with it though.
Sorry about drowning Raymond out. I thought it'd be a little funny.
Yeah, I didn't know how loud that was being, but I didn't want to stop you because you were having fun. And God
I
knows
just like playing.
someone needs to be having fun on this podcast. Okay, so Ironwood is
It's
still
a cartoon.
Ironwood is still expecting Oz to show up. He hasn't. He still really wants that guidance. Ironwood arguing with Oscar was the final scene they wrote this episode. I mean, it was a good scene. It was a great scene. I love that moment. Is like, my friends call me James. You can call me General. Bam! Shoot the child. What did I say, Molly? What did I say? If you're going to abuse children in your show, what do? You go hard.
Go all out.
Go hard or go home. You don't half-ass that shit. You shoot a child in the face. I remember
That's
now.
gonna clip that.
This is the reason why people think that I am horrible to children. For the record, do not actually shoot children in the face in real life. But if you're doing it in fiction, go hard or go home. Ironwood feels he is backed into a corner and he's doing the only sensible thing. Yeah. Winter was waiting to be the Winter Maiden her whole life, but in a split second she gives it all up. Her whole life? What? She's like 25? Like, she's been in the military for 7 years?
She's only known about this for like
3-4 years at most? At most!
Okay, at most that's how long she's been in the military. There's no way that Iron would drop this on her when she was like a rookie.
Presuming that she joined the military at like age 18, right
No,
Right.
she went to Atlas, so she would have joined at 21.
You're right. She would have. So you're right. So at minimum, she's known about this. At most, she's known about this probably about 3 years, something like that.
Hold on, can I read random comments?
Yes, go ahead.
In my opinion, Robin Hill is the most understandable, relatable, woke, and underrated character in all of RWBY. Her journey within this season was masterfully done, as it was hauntingly beautiful.
Wonderful. Stellar.
Thank you for that.
Stunning and brave.
It's funny because I don't usually say this, but Pokemon did it better. Pokemon did this plot better.
Who was Robin
This
Hill?
is not a writing standard. This is not a writing standard. Okay, when Pokemon does your idea story-wise better than you, something's wrong.
Like the games, in particular.
The games. The manga is different. The games did this plot. Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire did this, where you had a character who had this extremely intense goal that they were trying to that she's trying so hard by any means necessary to achieve, and she has it all taken away from her, and she just does not know what to do after that. Like Endgame, she has no idea what she's doing anymore.
So,
and they're trying to do that plot. Why couldn't they have gone all out? It's a really cool plot. I guess they might. There's time in Volume 8 for her to be like, well, I have nothing in my life anymore, so I'm just going to go on a murderous rampage after my sister with my hair down and my clothes torn. And anyway, like, if they do that, it'll be really poggers. But if they don't, I'm just don't know what I'm gonna do.
Stone donated. I'm hoping that they will say that Penny absorbed the maiden's aura rather than actually the actual maiden power. Could let them sidestep the old man aura problem. It could, but now she has the soul of an old white lady in her now too, and the soul of an old black man. So it's like
racism is over.
Yeah, racism is over, everyone. Penny is now both black and white.
Yes, Ellipse is chaos. I am talking about the Delta episode. I could talk about the Delta episode a lot.
It's
good shit.
She does love the Delta episode.
I do love the Delta
episode. Winter.
It's so jarring and so out of place. It's beautiful.
There was one line.
I like it because
there was one line in Oz's monologue they were struggling with for a whole day. What line was it? They love the idea of ending the volume on an almost identical shot from where they started. I mean, I'm fair. I like that idea too. It just kind of led to mixed results.
Winter development, or you would say Penny is an Oreo. Oh no.
Neo's look after Cinder takes the relic and doesn't thank Neo for getting it is setting up something for Volume 8. Probably a betrayal. So she might betray Cinder as well. Yay. Oz came back at that moment.
Neo's gonna betray Cinder? I never saw this coming. It's not like there's an entire fight with a song.
Yeah. Oz came back at that moment because he heard that Oscar said to Ironwood, and that made him brave enough to return. Oh, wait. Oz ran because he's a cowardly little shit? Oz isn't controlling Oscar right now, so Fat Man's theory is just flat out debunked by word of God. His theory that Oz has been in control of Oscar this entire time. Miles reveals that the Grim Whale is based on monster. Yeah, we knew that. This is once again said that Volume 8 is the hardest one they had to write so far. Miles seems super excited about it. Volume 8 was made with some fan input in mind, since it was still being written by the time V7 ended, but Volume 9 will be the first one written in a vacuum. That's not a good sign, nor is it a bad sign. It's a vacuum.
Fan input in mind. The only fan input they listened to was definitely, can we have more Bumblebee?
Yeah, that was... Jesus Christ! What do we make of this?
I don't know. What we make of this is that these people have no idea how to write. Not in the sense, yeah, we know they can't tell a good story, but just the process of sitting down with your boys and being like, all right, guys, let's plan this out.
All right, so
Guys, not enough people have DM'd me frogs. Come on, I know a lot of you have my Discord.
also, if anyone else did the John Wick writing assignment, we're about to jump into that.
I like how we gave them homework.
Oh, thank you, DD Jared, for your subscription. I don't know if you're here on the stream or not, but like, regardless if you are or not, welcome. So yeah, Volume 7 is a mess. Even though it had like
This is
probably the best scene in the entire series in it,
What's the best scene in the entire series to you?
the betrayal.
Oh yeah,
Because
that's fair.
like it actually had like there were stakes that were properly set up, it had emotional attachments that were properly set up, and then it subverted all of those by having the characters as devolve into like backstabbing each other because of disagreeing over ideological reasons. Like so much went into that. That was so much deeper than anything else Ruby had to offer up until that point. Okay.
I like it when Ruby just has these really good scenes in a vacuum, and you're like, it's kind of like when I'm like every time I hear the Volume 6 OP, and I'm just like, yeah, those were the days.
Random comment: wouldn't it be sick if the spirit inside the Sword of Destruction lacks a corporeal form and can possess the body of the one who possesses the sword, like an intelligent weapon? That would be metal as hell. They won't do it, but that's metal as hell. So, does Molly have a channel or Discord or something? She does have. She doesn't have. You don't have a server.
No, I don't have my own Discord server. Only like 20 people know who I am, but I have a Discord.
Yes, she is on our. If you join the Tundra, you will see her there.
I will be there. You could always tell when I'm in a conversation because there will be a lot of angry people.
Yes. The Anime Guy Ruby Critic Podcast. Hey Celtic, you write a Star Wars Republic Commando version of Ruby Volume 7 with Whitley as the sergeant of Atlas Commando Squad with the style of Halo 2. What? So you're asking me to write a version of Volume 7 but with like elements of Republic Commando and Halo 2? That's oddly specific. Also, I've not played Republic Commando. Also, why would Whitley be a part of the military? He's like following his father's footsteps. All right.
He's going to be an evil businessman. Specifically evil.
So did you pull up the John Wick exercise so you can read it along with me?
Yep.
Who is this from again? Because you got this one.
This is from Frontiers, his Discord name, but William Wismer or Wismer is the name that's on here.
Thank you for submitting this. I know it's actually very, very nerve-wracking having your writing up on screen where you feel like it's just... you're being judged at every turn. It's nice to see this is a second draft, so we're going to see a better version than what we normally get. But... yeah, let's hop into this. They were professionals. That much was clear. John watched through a window as they advanced on the house, moving in small teams with a perfect balance between speed and subtlety. Each man was garbed in black, Each man was garbed in a dark suit and mask, navy rather than black, to better blend with the night. They carried suppressed weapons, paradoxically coupled with bright, underslung flashlights. An old trick designed to dazzle opponents, their own dark clothing making it just a little bit harder to accurately fire back. Even their entry betrayed their skill, spread wide across the front of the house to reduce the damage an ambush or trap could inflict. Anime as Art says, is it weird that the Peace and Remnant is established by a magical immortal with divine tools kicking everyone's ass and enforcing his ideals on the world? No, it makes sense.
And that was how feudalism worked for 2,000 years.
Say again?
Give or take. That's how feudalism worked for a few thousand years.
Yeah, except we didn't have magic, sadly.
No, we didn't. They just said they did.
So far from this first paragraph, what are we feeling?
This is definitely stronger than like what we usually read. I do like this introduction where he starts out by saying they're professionals, so you already get this image in your mind, and then he goes into specifically what they are that make them clearly so capable, which is a nice segue. It feels like this feels pretty natural to me.
It feels very this definitely reads like it's coming from his perspective, and it's all about analyzing the opponents, which is a very smart way to establish a grand multitude of opponents. What I'm noticing here is that actually you're right that it starts out where it establishes his statement and then it flows through. And a rule of thumb that I learned from one of my teachers back in high school is that you can always kind of get the gist of a story by reading the first line of every paragraph, and that's how you can speed read.
I mean, that's something you learn in I remember like 5th grade when we learned how to write paragraphs. You have the topic sentence. It's the same thing.
Now, it doesn't always apply because, technically speaking, the first statement here, which then gets elaborated upon in the second paragraph, is a separate paragraph in and of itself. You can see that they were professionals. That much was clear as in its own paragraph, just one sentence paragraph, and it flows into the next. But it makes sense.
It's a similar concept that you're introducing this and then giving support, which is nice. And again, like you said, it's clearly from the perspective of somebody who's analyzing them.
Yeah. They'd all done this before, and they were good at it. John waited, letting them make the first move. He spent the time counting their number. 8, 9, 10 in total. A clear advantage weighed heavily against him. John would have to place this carefully. I think play this carefully would have been a stronger word choice. He would have to focus. Anything here?
No, it's same as last time. It's like you said, clear analysis. Molly showing more of her bears. Go Bears!
The men spread out through the main rooms, trying to cover all the angles at once. A bad move on their part, the gloom turning every blind corner in deep shadow inherently sinister. They knew he was in here somewhere, but until they could see him, he was everywhere. I like that line. That's a good line. I don't know if you lifted that from somewhere or if that's all original on you, but that's a good choice. Whatever it is. I like that. That line. There's an art there where it's all building up to that line, and it all pays off with a punch, and then just John waited. You can just.
I love that. I love big paragraph sentence. You see it all the time in my writing. I'm obsessed with it. It's so good.
Me and you mirror each other in that way. We like just like that punctualness. It really adds a nice just punch to your work when you do that. Or you kind of.
I like it. I like it sometimes because then it lets you play with it later. And the thing that I'm reading now, it's like this big thing of dialogue, the punch, and her eggs got cold. Damn it.
But to give you kind of an idea, it's like every grouping of paragraphs in and of itself can kind of be treated like a sentence needing a punctuation point, where you can have something, not always, mind you, but typically paragraphs work better as you're just having big blocks keep on going, whatever. But you can always have a moment to just break it apart, kind of separate different blocks of paragraphs apart from each other. You can do that structure-wise, and it works very well in the human brain because it makes it more memorable. Having long and then short is much more memorable than just long, 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 or short, short, short.
Yeah, I definitely you always kind of want to look at the shape of your writing. You want to see this, not this.
The men pushed
cooler that way.
The men pushed deeper into the house, splitting up and breaking the line of sight. Most stayed on the main floor, save for 3 who chose to brave the stairwell and climb to the second level. John did a quick count in his head. 3 upstairs, 3 in the den, 2 in the kitchen, 2 more wandering the halls. 10 in total. 1 more than he had accounted for, but that was of little concern. An extra would make no difference. I don't know. I feel like that might be a misstep in the characterization. It feels less calculating and too confident. John Wick never came across...
Yeah, because you've already established that he's really analytical.
Really analytical, and he's concerned about their numbers. So the fact is that, like, he's being dismissive of an extra person he didn't count. It feels kind of jarring all of a sudden that he's just like, but one more guy, what could the problem? And then we see later, when we get later on in the actual fight scene, we see he's really struggling with just one guy at the end. Like, there's that whole scene where he's just bashing a knife into a guy's chest. It's intense, it's brutal, and it shows you that just one person could really change the tide. So I think you might want to rework that there to be like, not that it would make no difference, but more like he was already outgunned. This just added to the pile, something like that. Like, just like, okay, I should still be worried about this, but in reality, I'm already about it up shit creek as far as I can be.
Yeah. By the way, thanks to everyone who sent me frogs. My girlfriend's very happy about that. She says frogs.
Oh Lord, your girlfriend's adorable. you are super lucky. I'm telling you that.
Oh. That's how I feel.
The upstairs trio advanced along the landing, alert for even the slightest sign of trouble. John knew the tension was starting to get to them. He could see it in their movements, the flinch in their steps, the slight shake in their weapons. He could hear the shallow, raspy breaths they drew, practically feel their hearts hammering in their chests. They weren't panicking, not yet, but they were close. John waited. Ooh, I like the mirroring. I like bringing that back.
I love repetition. As someone who likes poetry, repetition.
You gotta be careful with it, but this is a nice touch.
I think it can be really strong. Like, it's nice in things like this because it like brings you back to like, okay, we're still here, you know?
The lead man of the trio kept his eyes fixed firmly ahead, his weapon trained on the pillar of a second staircase coming up on their right. He hesitated, eyes flickering away for just an instant as some phantom sensation coursed through him, gone before it was even there. He still wasn't looking when John rushed from behind the pillar and shot him point blank in the head. The other 2 men turned in panic at the shot, one raising his weapon, but John was already on him. In a single motion, he pushed the barrel away and fired a second shot through the rear man's log. Log or leg? I can't.
No, that's his leg. That's his leg.
Okay, my screen might be a little blurrier because I'm reading on the television screen I have as opposed to the monitor I have. Sending him to his knees, while John finished the second man with 2 more shots. The rear man tried to rise, but another quick shot put him down for good. His body sent tumbling back down the stairs. Another shooter, drawn by the gunfire, appeared on the first floor just in time to see it hit the landing. He was about to call it out when a sixth shot tore through his forehead. John stopped, keeping time by his heartbeat as he listened. Dying gasps, clattering shells.
Oh, I like that. I like that. He was keeping track like that.
The pounding of blood in his ears. All irrelevant, all ignored. He listened further, painting a picture of how the board had changed. 4 down, 5 remaining. I mean, I don't even know if we need to continue. Like, this is just damned good.
This is good. Will, give yourself a pat on the back. This is good stuff.
Yeah.
Good pacing, good characterization, good timing. The fact that you're putting in these short, punchy sentences to help kind of break the flow and break up the fight into chunks. Like
paying attention to what he is paying attention to and what he's not, what elements are floating around the scene and what just are going unacknowledged. Like it's great. It's absolutely superb. And notice, okay, here's an interesting thing. He is noting locations over and over again, but he's not being super specific about how they all
No.
connect to each other. Like, he's flowing
No,
from
he is
place to place fluidly.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like, oh, he went up the stairs to a room that was on the right, second door to, it was blue. Like, it's all just like, okay, up the stairs to a room. Like, you get what you need to get.
I mean, you can make that kind of work where, like, he's being, like, super anal about it. It's like, he went upstairs, second door on the left, blue door, something like that. Like him, like, rushing through details in his head. You could make that work, but here it's very, very nebulous as to exactly how things are playing out, aside from, like, just general wordsmithery. It's very good, very solid. Let's skip forward a bit. Let's see if he gets the knife kill. Do. 10. One more. John turned to confront the last, finding him. This is on page 11.
I really like how he has the page numbers in the corners, like it's an essay.
Yeah.
I think that's cute. It's useful. I just also think it's kind of cute.
Yeah, he's writing as a writing exercise, so it's more like an assignment. It makes sense. Yeah. John turned to confront the last, finding him back on his feet, using the countertop for support. In his other hand, John caught the glint of a kitchen knife, swapped from the block behind him. Does he need the comma there?
Where?
In his other hand?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's like it's really weird because like it flows better without the comma in my head, but I could see grammatically he might need the comma there. The advantage was not his. The 11th man rushed him, swinging the knife, bringing back like the term advantage, where he's like going like very tactical in that sense of like, I have advantage, I have disadvantage, I don't have advantage, that kind of thing. Actually, it's very interesting how it's not that he has disadvantage, it's that he does not have advantage. He never puts himself on the back foot. He always puts the enemy in a point of superiority, so that he never feels that he's at a loss. It's very interesting in that language. Maybe he uses disadvantage earlier at some point in this piece, but it's an interesting note how he's using it here.
It is, but again, it's like this really strong characterization.
The 11th man rushed him, swinging the knife in a wide arc. John stepped back to avoid it, parrying a second swing safely away. Before he could strike back, a hand snapped out and grabbed John by the throat, forcing him to back away and raise both hands to break the hold. His opponent didn't let up, using his new opening to stab at John's exposed stomach. He had no clever counter to this time. He could only grab hold and resist, pitting his own strength directly against his opponent's. No advantage. They struggled back and forth, letting it carry them from the kitchen into the hall. The man was persistent, throwing all his strength behind, driving the blade into John's gut. A game of pure grit and determination, one that the 11th man might eventually manage to win. John let his grip slacken, dodging out of the way as the knife flew past. Unprepared for the shift, the 11th man overextended, leaving him wide open for John to grab from behind. A sweep of the legs finished the reversal, throwing them both to the ground in a heap. Grappling for control of the knife, John managed to wrench it into place over the man's chest. The same struggle threatened to resume, one man's strength against the other, but Baba Yaga was tired of playing games. John wrenched the man's head around by the chin, pinning him flat on his back and allowing John to throw his full weight against the knife. The quivering tip of the blade hung unmoving over the man's heart, never quite managing to close that last lethal gap. From so close, John could see the man's eyes. They were wide with fear, bordering on mania. This wasn't the way he'd expected his night to go. He had known he was being sent to kill. Had he known he was being sent to who he was being sent to kill? Oh no. Had he known who he was being sent to kill, or had Vigo kept that little detail to himself, knowing perhaps no one would dare come for the boogeyman? That seemed more likely to John. Just a good little soldier being marched to his death. John Wick almost felt sorry for him. It was Baba Yaga that smiled. John raised his hand and struck the knife's hilt. Immediately, the blade sunk half an inch into the man's chest, drawing blood and screams. He struck again, harder, the entire length of the blade sinking in and drawing crimson. On the third strike, the blade did not come back out. 11. He was done.
End. This really does feel like it was a writing assignment for school with the font.
Well, the formatting, with the formatting and the font.
Yeah, the formatting.
Holy shit, man, that was good.
That was really good.
I'm sweating.
Do you like Will? Do you like go to school for this kind of thing, or do you just do this as a hobby, or like what's the deal here?
Are you published? Are you actually the writer of the novelization of John Wick, and we just don't know? Like, because if this is like the novelization of John Wick, like, I would believe this is the actual novelization. Does it have a novelization?
Thanks for the DM, Floof. Just a bunny. It's pretty good. It's like a really HD video of a bunny being pet.
Where he's been sending that one around. It's great. Book 1 of John Wick. See all forms. Is there a preview I could get? Could I get a preview of? Oh, here we go. No, this is a comic. Oh no, there's no John Wick books I can find. Wow. I was like worried for a minute there that you were just throwing this at us and it was like plagiarized because it was just so damn good. But holy shit, man, good work, excellent work.
Well, someone asked, will there be more writing challenges like this in the future? Should we give them another?
I mean, I would love to, but like I would like to focus on like topics more than anything.
That's fair. Because we just did this because we talked about writing fights.
Yeah, we talked about writing fights.
Actually, you know what? You know what's a fun? Actually, what I want to give is that we talk so much about characterization. We talk so much about emotion. I want you guys to write a character study, like not a long one, but choose a character that you're really interested in, and just put them in a situation that really brings out who they are.
And that seems very broad. Trust me, it is incredibly difficult because they're the two struggles of writers, where you have a very broad idea or you have a very specific idea. When you have a very specific idea, the biggest struggle is writing to support it, where you're just trying to build up the pillars. It's like you need a pedestal upon which to set the idea. You need something that properly illuminates it from all the best angles, and you're just trying to constantly set that up. When you have a very broad idea, it's all about like you have a room that you need to fill with furniture, and you're constantly scrambling to be like, what do I want in here? Do I want it to be a living room? Do I want it to be a bedroom? Do I want it to be like a dining room, a kitchen, a bathroom? And you're like, okay, well, you have to decide on one of those, and you just know that you have a really interesting room aesthetic that you wanted to go for. You just don't know what you want to fill it with yet. So when I say that, like when he says that do a character study, you're being presented, here's a really cool room aesthetic. What kind of room is it?
Yeah. And it's basically like one of my favorite things to do. I love character studies. I love putting characters in these kind of like very tense and personal situations and just seeing how they react to it. So I think it's a really good exercise.
Let's give them a character study, but also give them kind of a prompt to go along with it.
Well, usually what I do is like I just kind of see something and I'm like, man, it'd be interesting to just expand on that. But an interesting thing you can do is if you have no basis of what you want to explore, go to like, let's say it's a game. Go to like a random part of that game and just think about how the character was in that moment. Go to Wikipedia and press random article and just roll with it. Like, I don't know. I usually choose things that I kind of have like built up over time, and I'm just like, man, I should finally just write this down. What do you want to do for a prompt?
Let's see. Well, I'm going to a random plot generator, see what I can come up with. No, this is giving us character. I don't want that.
Random plot generator.
Setting. Okay, situation. Okay, all right. So the setting is in a desert, and someone is tormented by the memory of a dead family member.
Yes, you could do OCs for this. I don't want to give them like an exact plot to follow, just because I don't want
Well,
to
I'm giving them that
restrict
this is something for them to leap from, as opposed to this is not a hard demand. This is something to be like the general theme is going to be desert. It's going to be a character study in the desert, something like that. That fair enough?
a Western.
A Western. I'm thinking maybe
A
like
West-
the Sahara.
It sounds like
You
a
could-
Western
You
to
could have
me.
Egypt as a setting. You could have. Is it
A film fan and I have been watching Westerns, so it's just on the brain.
It doesn't northeastern China, northwestern China have a desert.
Yeah, the Gobi.
The Gobi. Like you could have the Gobi. There's several deserts you could choose from. So, and the idea of it being tormented by a dead family member, maybe they're just recently a dead family. You don't have to be like a ghost or anything. That's an idea for like that's a more specific thing you could use, but you could also jump from for like theming.
So, Floof, after sending us a picture of Big Chungus in Robin's clothes, says, I want to see a character analysis of her because there's no way to do it because she's nothing. Ruby character studies are actually interesting because there's like nothing, so you could just do whatever the fuck you want and roll with it.
I mean, like, hell, you could do an entire thing about how Yang's actually a necrophiliac and it would probably work.
You could do something about Ruby being a sociopath. It would definitely work.
Oh, I mean, that's like one of the points that actually does work. Without issue.
Yeah, I like it. I like it when it's really attached to canon very strongly.
Maybe we can give him character action too. Your character has some tough lessons to learn. Well, this is character sets out to change everyone's opinion. Your character investigates with the help of a good friend. Your character sets out on a rescue mission. There's so many like this is actually a really. I'm gonna pop this in the chat. This is actually a really good website.
Actually, I'm going to give myself work. If you guys cannot come up with a scenario to work with, please DM me, explain the character, and I will come up with something. This is something that I am decent at for some reason. So I just wanted to use that skill. Original character, Donut Steal.
But yes, so that's your assignment. Roughly, it's a character study in the desert with possible additions of whatever I'm doing here. And we'll want to see you guys do it next week. Try to keep them relatively short. You can kind of keep them
under 2,000 words. Let's
under 2,000 words. The John Wick one was awesome. Like, that was amazing. But that was also really wordy to get through. So
it is long. I mean, it's 11 pages. It's long.
Yeah.
11, 12 pages. Why is my name spelt with a Q? Yeah, that's the Crow character study.
Development. So we've been going for about an hour and a half. How do we want to continue? Do we want to continue? Do we want to call it a night?
I'm going to take a 5-minute break while that is discussed. I'll be right back.
Okay, well, 5-minute break. I'm here with chat. How's chat doing? How are you guys doing, guys? Actually, I'm going to see. How many viewers are we at? We're at 66 viewers. Damn. Activate order 66. Where do we share fanfics in the Discord? When it comes down to us reviewing them, you can send them to us directly. You can send them to us directly in messages. You can, and me and Molly will collect them for the next stream. But in the Discord, we actually have a writing channel where you can post your fan fictions for review by just about anyone in the Discord. Have a hug, Raymond? I will take that hug. I love hugs. Hugs are wonderful. You did improve. Yeah, we saw that I pinned your feedback because it was very heartwarming to see that. And apparently, Molly's the only one I think that looked at it, and I think she said that you've actually improved quite a bit. I do short stories, but they're kind of hard for me to pull off properly. Short stories are hard. It's almost as if when you start writing a short story, you might accidentally come out with a 130-page novella. Not related at all to anything that I'm doing currently. At all. Oh, it's all right. John Wick was really cool, really well written. Yeah, it was. It was. That was. I cannot emphasize enough how well written that was. That flowed wonderfully. And it's one of those things that when Molly gets back, I want to talk about it more. Is that I want to kind of transition from the kind of grammatical nature of writing and the formatting of writing and move more into the substance of writing as opposed to anything else, because I think that's. Once you master writing itself from a mechanical angle, it becomes much more about how you explore character in it, how you explore how you explore themes and how you tell the story, where logic lines up, that sort of thing. Just doing some writing right now. If it wasn't for the fact that I am super nervous about my flaws in writing, I would try submitting a thing for this test. I'm getting feedback right now, hopefully soon. Dude, just throw it to us. Like, we will judge you, but that's the point. We're going to judge you, and we're going to give you tips on how to improve. The goal of this is not to be like, oh, you're a terrible writer, you'll never be good. It's going to be, okay, you obviously have some flaws here. Here's how you might be able to improve or might be able to find your own route for self-improvement. You're crap at making characters around it? Here's my rule of thumb. Steal a character. Look to a series and steal a character. Just steal them wholesale. And then, as the story progresses, modify the character to better fit whatever premise you have going for it. Think of whatever characters in media you like and throw them in. You can literally steal a Ruby character and no one will be the wiser. Would I be able to do videos on writing tips or guides for proper writing? I mean, that's sort of what these streams are now. These streams are supposed to be like tips on how to do better writing tricks. By the way, Celtic, the character that I mentioned, well, she doesn't like alcohol because it ruined her brother. Why does it matter? Well, you turn yang to alcohol, and that might work in terms of conflict. Thought I mentioned, yeah, it might. It might. People struggling with alcohol is a great motive. Molly, I'm getting lightheaded talking by myself. Molly, come back. I'm alone! I'm a born Irishman all on his own! I can't handle this! Raymond, that's a trick statement. Ruby characters don't have character. Exactly, that's what makes them so wonderful to steal, is no one can tell. No, but here's the thing. You don't get Yang wrong as a character, necessarily. You don't get the character... When you're writing, even in fan fiction, you're diverting... You are splitting off from the canon interpretation already. So what you need to have is understanding you're writing a character that is going to grow with your story, in time with the story. I do scripts. I do scripts for my videos, obviously, and I have written scripts in the past. That's what Black Book was. Black Book had quite a few scripts to it. But I haven't written scripts in a long time. I actually really don't like script format. It's really annoying to my sensibilities. I mean, you can always use a personality generator. Like the random plot generator I gave, it has like character generators in there. So I can like writing exercises, random scenario, random words, character generator. This character is a woman in her late 20s who is very selfish. She comes from a poor background, lives in a converted barn, and tends to drink too much. Bam, right there. Oh, thank God you're back. I was getting lightheaded. I can't hear you. What? Are you muted? Did you mute yourself?
From what?
From talking so much. I have to keep the stream entertained. I can't do that. My God, I have such shitty lungs these days. I used to actually have really great lungs. But like, we're just trying to like, how do you come up with characters? That kind of stuff. Like people, I just like character generator if you absolutely need it. I steal characters wholesale and then just modify them for the setting. I'm not ashamed to admit it. That's a time-honored tradition.
What I like to do is I take an athlete I like and then name them after that athlete and then just use that athlete's personality. It's genius.
So you just use the athlete.
Yes.
Character generator. The character.
I mean, if you watch sports as much as I do, it gets pretty obscure.
Let's see. This character is a young woman in her late teens who is very judgmental. She comes from a comfortable background, lives in a fantasy world, and tends to be rather lazy. It's plenty to work with right there. You can just this random generator is great. God, I love this website.
This is definitely how Fire Emblem comes up with characters. Ever since Awakening, I was just basically convinced that they do it at random.
I mean, that would work.
It does work.
Gotta stop smoking.
The most
that
important
pipe.
thing, the reason those characters are so beloved is because, well, there's two reasons. A, the absolute like weirdness that they bring to the plate is very genuine, and B, they live very independently from the story itself. So, like, you know how like in like a Pokemon game, everybody plays like everybody's a Pokemon trainer. That's kind of it.
Mm-hmm.
In Fire Emblem, like every character has like 10 hobbies, and they just have them, and it has nothing to do with anything.
Well, think about people you know. Like,
yeah,
I have a friend that's my best friend's wife. Actually, she's wonderful, but she has like 36 pets. It feels like she has like at least 5 rats. She has 3 cats.
Everybody are for rats.
And a dog that I swear is going to eat someone someday. Because
once my professor on an online class said, everybody put F in chat if you can't hear me, since you all like doing that so much.
Yeah, so like think about that. Like, just think of people you know that have just random weird proclivities. Like, I have a friend that I walked into his room one day because like he had the bathroom in the back of his room, and I just had to go there. So I walked past, and I just saw like I walked past his desk where he does his work, and there were just bottles, empty bottles of water, like empty bottles, just strewn all over the place. And you could tell a story just alone on the fact that there's so many bottles of water just in front of his desk that hadn't been cleaned up.
Hold on, I'm looking back through the chat from where I missed. Somebody asked for my Discord. I'm just gonna put it in so people stop asking.
You know, it's such a regular part of the streams. I'm gonna mod you. There you go. You are now a moderator on my channel.
I feel like that took long enough.
That took long enough? Yeah. Sorry.
It took long enough.
That's your brother? Yeah, I mean, you just never know. You never know. Yeah, for those that can't read it, it's Mollie Rhymemaster, hashtag 7010.
On Discord, you have to have the number. Yeah, having random hobbies or interests is always great. It works for characters. It also works in reality. That's why I never run out of things to talk about with people. It's like...
It's a problem I feel like I do. I feel like I'm not... here's the thing. I write interesting stories, or at least I feel like I write interesting stories, and I have a lot of interesting ideas. I just spend a lot of time inside my head, and I find like that makes me a boring person.
Come on, camera, refocus. There we go. It's my TI-84. I go to big boy math.
Gotta get me one of them spicy TI-83s.
It's a TI-84. I can't say I use it for much of the graphing capabilities, though, which is kind of waste.
Zoom on it.
They used it a lot in calculus, but engineering is mostly just filling out equations, except for this one class. If any of you know anything about matrix math, please help me.
Can't see the link. Which link? Molly didn't provide a link. She just put her. You can friend her on Discord through the name she provided. Just search.
Yes. If you do not have a Discord,
KO Marcel, my OC is a farm girl who's allergic to pollen. That's a good start. That's an interesting start. That could think of how many ways that could shape an entire character. Like a farm girl allergic to pollen. How often does she leave the house? Is it often? What kind of farm does she live on? Is it mostly like cattle farm? Then it might not have as high
chicken farm
pollen levels as like a crop farm. How long should a character description be? You shouldn't have a block character description. You should introduce character with very fine
characters
details.
should be described by what's happening.
Yes. Like.
Also, I don't have Tiny White, so hold on.
You don't have Tiny Whites? Did you get Tiny Weiss, or you don't have Tiny Weiss? Oh, Tiny Weiss! There we go.
Tiny Weiss.
Everything is now right in the world. Mom usually asks me while I stare at my writing ideas book. What are you doing? I just say thinking. About what? Just writing. I know. Oh my god, it is so annoying when people are just like, "You're not doing anything." You have no idea how much effort it is to just think, and then to get in the writing mood with that. Like the energy expenditure of just thinking of things is insane.
Earthquake.
But all the same, we are now running up on an hour and 45 minutes. I think we want to start winding down the stream here. So everyone, you have your assignment. Next week, it's character study. We're looking at the character study. It's set somewhere in the desert. It may or may not involve the death of a family member in some way, shape, or form, or a dead family member in some shape or form. I want to see these in my in my Twitter inbox over the coming weeks. I want to see
right. My first fanfic idea. Weiss is best friends with Winter's unit, and they die.
Oh God. Oh Lord.
That was fun. What?
I'm just remembering like how unengaged I was with that story, and now you're the one you're writing now, and how engaged I am with that. It's like, wow, you've really grown as a writer. That, or you've just ended up choosing a really better subject matter when it comes down to like Ruby versus Fire Emblem.
The characters are certainly more interesting and more consistent and better.
Yes.
And much more bastardous, which I like in my characters.
Check my Twitter. I will check my Twitter. But I should probably do... Oh, wait, no, notifications? Oh my god, Rick Sarts, you are amazing!
Oh my gosh, what did he post?
Here, let me... Cut. Where is this? There's that. Go away, character generator. We've got something better to do. We've got Neo and the Bear.
Oh my gosh, Costco Bear Neo.
This is incredible. Thank you so much, Rick Sarts. This is amazing.
Hold on, it's not on the screen. Put it on the screen.
Oh, right. I'll send it to you.
Ah! Oh my gosh, she has it. And the onesie.
It's so adorable. All right, I think that is a fantastic note to go out on. Wait, gotta keep that up. Oop, didn't mean to minimize that. Thank you all so much for watching. I do hope. Thank you all so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed the stream and got something a little bit out of this in your writing abilities. Remember, next week we'll be reviewing the character studies. If you wish to support the channel, please do follow me on Patreon. For $1 or more, you get access to the Team Frostbite Discord server, where I and Molly and Fatman Falling and Dashi Lee are all regularly active. If you want to support the channel in other ways, please subscribe and share this around to any friends you might think would enjoy it. Until then, I've been Raymond McNeil, she's been Molly, and with her has been Tiny Weiss. We'll catch you all on the flip side.